Person in the world to walk again after pioneering surgery. 40-year-old Darek Fedika from Poland was stabbed 4 years ago, leaving him with no movement or feeling from the waist down. Cells from his nose were put into his damaged spinal cord, reopening communication between his lower body and his brain. One of the scientists behind the treatment said the achievement was more impressive than putting a man on the moon. Our medical correspondent Fergus Walsh has this exclusive report. It contains images from the operating theatre.
For Darek Fedika, it's been an incredible journey. It's 4 years since he was paralysed from the chest down after a knife attack. Now he can walk again after a pioneering cell transplant in Poland. Just small steps, but for Darek they represent a giant leap.
When there is nothing, you can't feel almost half of your body. You're very helpless, lost. But when it begins to come back, it's like starting afresh, as if you were born again.
We can think of the spinal cord as a motorway.
This is the culmination of 40 years' research by London neuroscientist Jeff Raisman and his belief that our sense of smell held the key to reversing paralysis. The olfactory bulbs, shown in green, transmit odour information to the brain and are the only part of the nervous system where nerve fibres constantly regenerate. Surgeons in Poland Darek's spinal cord, with the hope that these would provide a pathway to enable the spinal cord to repair itself.
What we've done is establish a principle, that is, nerve fibres can grow back and restore function, provided we give them a bridge. I believe this is the moment when paralysis can be reversed.
He said I'm moving the foot to his side. That's the correct answer.
After the transplant, Darek has recovered some feeling and sensation below his injury, in his legs, his bladder and bowel. So what could this mean for other paralysed patients? Everyone involved in this research is anxious to avoid raising false hopes. That's why it's crucial that Darek's treatment is repeated in other patients in a carefully can help to reverse paralysis.
I'm going to stop you arching your back.
This spinal injuries expert said although Darek's recovery was modest, the findings, published in the journal Cell Transplantation, are of compelling scientific significance.
I've waited about 40 years for a moment like this, and I am hopeful that this moment will be repeated and confirmed by independent assessors.
It's far too early to rewrite the medical textbooks, but the scientists involved believe this could herald a new era in the treatment of blind.
Well, the breakthrough is, of course, going to give hope to thousands of people who are paralysed, as well as stroke victims. Our science editor, David Shookman, is here, and just how much of a breakthrough could this be?
Well, Sophie, it is very early days. Because this operation is the first of its kind, no one knows if the technique will work on other victims of spinal injury. But the hope is that it could be a pivotal moment. Daniel Nichols has been paralysed from the neck down for the past 11 years. Days are now filled with physiotherapy. Back in 2003, he dived into the ocean in Australia and hit a sandbank. The impact on his spine was instant.
Check the trousers for me.
And now Daniel hopes this new research might someday help him.
It's the biggest gift anybody could give me would be to be able to walk again. And you always live in hope of that. And, you know, I do believe this is the first step in doing that.
His father, David, a leading chef, set up a charity to help victims of spinal injury, and it funded the research being reported now. There are some 40,000 victims of spinal injury in the UK and Ireland, and on average there's a serious new case every 8 hours. But what's unknown is how many people could benefit, because many spinal cords are crushed in accidents, not cut, as with the patient in Poland. So there's a lot still to find out.
This is a clinical study on one patient, and what we'd like to see is the study expanded both for safety and for efficacy reasons into other patients, and then for that to be done under controlled clinical trial conditions, and then we can really assess just how significant this breakthrough has been.
The research was carried out at university, creating false hope about instant cures.
So I'm basically introducing...
So when I went to see the man behind the project earlier today, I put that to him. Are you worried at all about expectations of a quick result being raised?
People who are in wheelchairs will be filled with hope and excitement, and they have to know that, in my view, the development stage of this is still another 3 to 5 years. And until we get that out, until we can show this is robust, no one's going to take it up. This is still a research project.
The next step is to try the technique on 10 patients. They're still being selected and more funding is needed for the work to go ahead. But the results are found. Sophie.
David, thank you. And you can watch the Panorama special Talk Again tonight on BBC One at 10:35 and half an hour later on BBC One in Wales.